It may have slid in under the radar when it arrived last year, but the Kia Seltos is not a car that you should overlook, as I discovered in February when I drove the range-topping GT line.
Then there is the car that we are driving, and this is the debut of their all-new 1.4 litre T-GDI or Kappa engine that they like to call it. It's also linked to a reworked, improved 7-speed DCT transmission. That engine is exclusive to the GT line in the Seltos. So overall for me, the ride quality and refinement is really top-notch.
Now at the time, Kia committed to bringing a diesel variant to the lineup mid-year, and that would slot in between the entry-level 1.6 litre naturally aspirated engine and the range-topping 1.4 litre turbo. And guess what? It is here, which is no small miracle considering what the world has gone through the last couple of months.
What do you guys think? I actually quite like it. There's no fussy swooping lines, but rather bold and clean ones. Like this shoulder line, it really emphasizes the wheel arches, and when you view it from behind, those bolstered flanks and that tucked in glass house really emphasizes the width of the Seltos. The chrome detailing linking the tail lights also helps with that. Now, where the GT line felt a little overstyled with every detail embellished in chrome, this suits me a lot better. The two-tone created with the darker cladding is a little lost with this color. I think it's going to look really striking in white. The C-pillar has become a real focal point for designers these days, and Kia have turned up, or is that upturned? What is quite cool for me is how that shoulder line at the rear suddenly reappears here at the front flanks, and it plays a really crucial role in the strong front-end styling on the Seltos. It links up the front headlights, and have a look at this detailing on the bonnet. It's got a clamshell effect. The tiger nose that Kia is well known for has just been reimagined. Lighting in layers seems to be a Korean trend, and with the chrome touches you have a front end you're not going to miss, but hey, it may be a chiseled face not to everyone's liking. But what is really great with Kia is the standard specification. What you see here is the entry-level EX derivative. There's no need to tick any option boxes. You get auto headlights with LED daytime running lights, the fog lamps, the silver finishing on the front faux scuff plate, as well as a diffuser, electric mirrors with integrated indicators, 16-inch alloys with a full-size spare wheel, which is great. The roof rails also finished in silver, and I love how they've treated the end detailing of the rails. Integrated roof spoiler with LED brake light, as well as the rear park distance control with rear view camera. Now the comprehensive standard features continue on the inside. You've got electric windows all around, but I'll tell you what I would have liked is a one-touch up and down, not just down feature. The leather-clad, squared-up steering wheel, multi-function, looks really good, and you would have noticed it comes with cruise control as well. The entire range does, which is really great. And of course, very importantly, an 8-inch infotainment system that comes with Bluetooth connectivity, voice recognition, and obviously with a USB in the front as well as in the rear and a 12-volt charger. It's very easy to pair your mobile device. It is good for Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto, so all happy days there. But I'll tell you what I'm not happy about is actually how it's mounted. It's literally one big squared up block that's been shoved onto the dash, much like what Mercedes-Benz does. For me, I way prefer it when it's nicely integrated and becomes part of the dash design. What you're not going to get is a very cool digital dash. This is very old school analog layout with its onboard computer as well. But the interior in general, as with all Kias these days, very, very well laid out. Not a lot of clutter, which I really appreciate. And even though there's a lot of hard plastics, which all the competitors have as well, it's good quality plastic and it's really well put together. The Koreans certainly do know how to fit out a car these days. What is really impressive is the space. My seat is in full driving position and look how much legroom I have. It's incredible, and ample headroom as well. And in the rear for passengers with the USB, the air vents, and this cool little drop-down armrest with the cup holders, comfort is guaranteed. The boot though, 433 litres is class leading, and it's impressive considering that it's also got that full-size spare. We took this car on the trip down to the Lowveld, 3 adults, plus all of their luggage, food, refreshments for the group, and the camera gear all fitting quite easily into the Seltos. The Seltos is also solid on safety because it comes standard with 6 airbags across the range, as well as ISOFIX child mounts. But the all-important vehicle stability control system is only available if you spec EX Plus or the GT line. That I don't like. When I reviewed their range-topping GT line with that 1.4 litre turbo petrol, I predicted then that this diesel, when it arrives, would be the pick of the bunch. I'm happy to tell you I can now confirm that is the case. This 1.5 litre VGT engine is sweet. It delivers 86 kilowatts, 250 newton meters, and it drives the front wheels either through a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, when I saw that we had the manual, I was a little bit worried. I mean, you know the peaky nature of a diesel engine, but the gearing is superb in the Seltos, as is the feel. It really is a good gearbox engine pairing, but I'd probably still recommend going for the auto transmission purely from a convenience point of view. And the fuel consumption, that is the real winner for me. Our 750 kilometer round trip included town driving, obviously on the open road to the Lowveld, car fully loaded, and we're sitting on 5.3 litres per 100. I mean, it is impossible to argue with that. What was interesting though is that my passengers immediately commented on just how comfortable the entire experience was. Not only the ride quality, but also insulation of the cabin. And it really is. The seats are comfortable, so hitting this on the open road in cruise control was an absolute breeze. It runs on a tweaked version of the Hyundai Creta, so you've got a pretty conventional suspension setup. It's got McPherson's in the front, and then at the rear they're running a torsion beam. And it really does soak up the bumps really well. So it was super surprising when we actually went off the beaten track onto the gravel road, and it literally felt like I was driving on rims. I actually stopped, checked the tire pressures, recommended is 2.4. I actually dropped them to 2 bar. I felt an improvement through the steering, but the passengers at the rear said things felt pretty much unchanged. Now, I'm not an expert when it comes to suspensions, but it might just be tweaking the rebound rates and the actual dampers. But to be fair, it was a pretty rough road, and that's not the natural habitat for the Seltos. Kia really do have all of their bases covered with their model lineup here in South Africa. The Seltos is offered with 3 engines, 3 transmissions, as well as 3 specification levels. And that, coupled with their solid reputation and then backed up by what is an industry-leading warranty, this is a vehicle you'd be foolish to overlook.
The Seltos as a package is really solid, and with that 100,000 rand spread between the entry level and the top spec, they really are casting a very wide net. So the question is, why do I not see more of them on the road? Well, I think that's because the segment just offers so much to consumers. It is so broad and so loosely defined that consumers are not comparing apples with apples. Let's use a T-Cross as an example. When that came out, it was an immediate sales success. So consumers are now price checking that versus the Seltos and going, ooh, it's a little bit pricey, isn't it? Well, that's because you're getting a lot more car for your money, literally. Because the Seltos is a way bigger car that should be compared against VW's T-Roc. Now, when that arrives in November, it is going to start 20,000 Rand more than the top spec Seltos, both of which are running with 1.4 litre turbo petrol engines. Kia is hoping to bring the Sonnet in December, and that will then square up head to head against the T-Cross. When that happens, what I would do if I was them, I would ditch the 1.6 litre naturally aspirated engine and only offer the Seltos with the turbos, turbo petrol, turbo diesel, because the lower entry price point is now covered with the Sonnet. And there you have it. Apples with apples. Nachos with nachos.